Venton Blandon, a reporter for our St. Louis affiliate KMOV, is on the scene. Venton, take us through what you are seeing there.
Right now, I can tell you, Roxanne, the protesters, and there are many of them, they are standing still right here in the middle of Central West End. That's a community here in St. Louis. They've been going since about 9 o'clock Central Friday morning, and their whole purpose is to disrupt the city of St. Louis, and they've not been doing anything violent, so they say this is a win for them. They've gone across the message. I want to show you the crowd. This is what they are doing. They've been doing this. We've walked several miles. We walked from this part of the area. They walked into downtown. They moved from downtown back to this particular area. These are some affluent areas where a lot of businesses are, where a lot of folks are living and working, and this is where they want to disrupt things. Now, we talked to them. One of the biggest things Governor Eric Greitens has said to not go on the Interstate 64. The protesters walked from this particular area down to the interstate. That's a couple of miles. They met the law enforcement officers, Missouri State Highway Patrol, St. Louis Police, and several other local agencies I was unable to identify. They sat there for a little while. It was not confrontational. They talked to each other, but it was very clear law enforcement wanted them to go around. So some leaders in this group, they held back. They asked them to turn around. So they basically walked from that area back to this location. And I asked one of the protesters as we was coming through the area, what's the purpose? They said to disrupt. So there's no immediate purpose in this area except to make their presence known. Now, there have not been any problems per se when it comes to law enforcement and the protesters. In fact, in this particular group where I've been in the area all day, we've not seen police officers marching with them, marching to keep them in check. We've seen them at intersections just making sure they don't harm any drivers. Now, they have hit the mark when it comes to stopping traffic. We've gone through several parts of this community, and a lot of cars were stopped on the main thoroughfares, around hospitals, around major living areas, apartments, colleges, and things like that. But we're back here where they seem to gather in a square area, and this is where they're going to be. There is no timeline. We've tried to figure out if they're going to stop at 10 o'clock, midnight. They said they're going to keep going until they can make their message clear. If you keep killing us, we're going to stop your economy. That's what they're chanting, and of course they're chanting Black Lives Matter. Back to you, Roxanne.
Yeah, we heard some of those chants, Venton, earlier. You mentioned that the purpose of these protesters was to disrupt and to make their presence known. It sounds like what you're saying is it's completely peaceful, and yet we have heard of some arrests. Have you heard anything about that?
No, we have not, but let me kind of show you something if we can take a look around here. We've not seen this in all of the 10 to 12 hours that we've been seeing, but there was just some command made as you were talking to me for them to get on the ground. So I'm not really sure what's going on, but this is the most visual thing we've seen from the protesters from the morning into the night. This is the most visual aside from them walking, but again, everything seems to be peaceful so far.
It does look peaceful. And so many people there from different demographics. Now, this is playing out not far from Ferguson, where Michael Brown was shot in 2014 by a police officer who was never charged. How does that memory, do you think, play into what we're seeing tonight?
Well, you know, a lot of folks are thinking about that tonight, and we've asked that question because, as you can imagine, Ferguson was probably going to be a jumping point, if you will, but remarkably, from what I can gather, it's been quite peaceful over there as well, but that is on the mind. Many of the people marching tonight marched in Ferguson, and they said, hey, that's just the start. This is the continuation. They say this is not a win for them, per se, when it comes to Ferguson and this, but this is more of in progress. They made their message known. They're in Ferguson, and just a few miles this way into St. Louis, they're making their presence known again.
Now, did you get the feeling, Venton, when you talked to people there, that if this trial had been by jury instead of a judge, that the outcome would have been any different?
That's the opinion from a lot of people. The people protesting, the people in the law field, people in the clergy. A lot of people said, hey, if this had been in front of a jury of peers, the opinion probably would have changed everything. The ruling could have been different because, you know, folks will talk it out. When you have 12 people in the room thinking about something, the opinions will go, the conversations will go. The weight and the burden is not on one person, in this case, the judge. So many people believe if it had gone to a jury trial, a different outcome would have occurred.
And this verdict just was announced Friday morning. Is there a sense of how long these protests will last?
That's something I've been trying to figure out. Right now, as I said, they've been going since about 9 o'clock Central, and they are still going. We're about approaching that long time frame, basically, and this is going to be going throughout the night. And this was a big concern. You know, it was really peaceful during the day, according to the protesters, and law enforcement made a couple of arrests earlier, but they are really concerned about nightfall because a lot of people will get excited, a lot of people will become fatigued from protesting all in the morning, and they are really concerned about whatever happens at night being on a greater level and a more dangerous level.
Venton Blandon for us in St. Louis, thank you.